Hey guys, Brad here with another quick video. Um, Previous video for bubbles I did was for a customer of mine, Anthony. This is a Moon Patrol board set he wanted. He asked if I had anything. I went through, I did have a few Moon Patrol board sets. Went through and repaired and restored this one. And so it's had probably 48 hours on the bench. I took some images of it, some static photos, and now we're doing the video to show it functioning and kind of go over what I did. So with that, I'll switch to the bench cam, and then we'll come back and do some gameplay, and I'll go through the diagnostics as well. So let me switch over to the bench. So here is the IREM Moon Patrol board set. This was officially licensed to Williams from IREM. You can see it's got all the Williams serial numbers and stickers they put on when they put it in the cabinets. Has a nice gold-plated edge connector here. I go through and polish those and put some deoxit on both sides. I change all the electrolytics on the boards when I do these. There's a couple back here for the soft start or supervisory circuit back here. There's also a supervisory circuit right here on the soundboard. So these boards is a four-board stack. You can see the top one's the small board here. This is the soundboard. Kind of like the Defender architecture, these soundboards are a standalone computer, if you will. So this is a 6803 CPU. Then we've got a couple of the General Instrument AY38910 sound chips. There's an EEPROM over here that stores all the sounds. Then this heatsink here is the audio amplifier. I do change all the heatsink compound. I change all these electrolytics. There's a couple under here. There's some big ones, filter ones here. There's a tantalum normally back here that tends to fail shorted. I pull those out, whether they're good or bad, and replace them. Sometimes with a modern tantalum at a higher voltage, but electrolytic's fine as well. Another electrolytic here. I do pull out all the socketed chips, clean, straighten the legs, put a little deoxit on them. I do pull the ribbon cables off from this one, and then the two large ones in the back that actually loop down to all three boards, and those get simple green bath. Um, on the way again these are architected, the top board here, the large board on this stack is the MPU. So this has the Z80 microprocessor, which is a 40-pin unit. Under the soundboard here, there's four RAM chips, 2732s, 4K that hold the main program code. And then there's also some SRAM on this board as well. And all that can be tested through the diagnostics. However, on the bottom two boards, one is the character board here. This kind of generates the text and the ships, the moving parts that you control. And then the bottom board here is the scrolling video. This is kind of the background with the mountains and that move. And those boards, kind of like the soundboard, they're just commanded, like play this, show this background, move at this rate. Um, Same thing with sound. It's this just commands play a particular sound, and this board on its own generates that. Well, these character and scrolling video boards kind of function the same way. So um, testing these, when you're troubleshooting, repairing these, having a known working set is nice because then you can swap in and out and do contrast and compare and get to the root cause pretty quick. There's also some electrolytics up here that they put on these inputs, kind of like a debounce or as a buffer. These were bodged in on these boards. Probably 90% of the Williams boards I've seen have them like this, where they're just soldered across legs of the dip ICs. There are some later revision boards where they actually put, through hole mounting points on the board to mount those three electrolytics. So anyway, there's also known these boards. There's quite a few bipolar proms, and the ones they were using at the time have like a silver-plated leg, and they get really weak and corroded sometimes. So I always pull those out. I check the legs if they're at all weak or any broken. I don't try to repair them. I program new ones. I make reproduction labels, and they get replaced. So that this board had that done as well. So without further ado, we will get this thing powered up and get some diagnostics going and some gameplay. So let me switch over. There we go. So what you're seeing on the screen again is just artifacts from the CGA to VGA converter. We've got a little remote control here. I will power this guy on. Moon Patrol is pretty impressive. It goes into the game really quick. It doesn't really do much diagnostics on power up. So you can see it's got the Moon Patrol and then the copyright 1982, and then it's got the Williams name, even though they licensed it from IREM. So On the board, I showed you two. There's two banks of 8 dip switches that have 8 positions. The bottom bank, position 8, the last one. If you flip that dip switch up, which I'm going to power the board off, flip that up, and then repower the board, that will force it into diagnostics. So I've also got a little PlayStation controller that I've mapped for the keys on here. So you can see it's going through testing RAM. When it was pausing there, it was reading all the EPROMs back and checking the checksums on them. So here it comes back and says all the RAM's okay, and then each of the 4 ROMs, 0 through 3, test just fine as well with their checksums. So from here, we can drop into kind of a limited diagnostic screen. So there's some dip switch settings here we can go into. Basically, if I toggle some of these dip switches, you can see there, switch 1, position 3 and 4, I'm toggling up and down. So you can use this to test the dip switches, and it also shows you as you change them down on the bottom there. So for instance, I can switch from upright, or the patrol cars, 4 to 5, and then upright to table for cocktail. So it'll actually show you what, when you're flipping the dip switches, what the new settings are, which is kind of slick actually. And then I/O port, I'm not going to go into that. I always have a hard time forgetting how to get out of it, but it just tests all the inputs for the jump buttons and the joystick, and you're pretty limited on this game, so they're definitely working. Sounds is interesting. We'll go into here, and then we can loop through each one of the sounds. So I'll try not to talk, and we'll just go through and listen to some of them. The classic background. And I will say that car explosion, like when I change all the electrolytics on the soundboard, prior to doing that, these old dried out electrolytics, that car explosion sounds really harsh normally. When you get the caps, really make a noticeable improvement on the audio quality. Characters here, this just goes through and tests some sprites, if you will. Colors is kind of interesting. You get some character fonts, and then go through and get some color bars, red, green, blue, and then back. And then there is a crosshatch pattern for setting your convergence on the monitor. Again, I mentioned in other videos, most people have these little handheld TPGs. They run on a 9-volt battery or something, you know, and test pattern generator, and that you can do all kinds of cool different patterns to set convergence and colors and purity and all of that you can do, as well as some of them have like where there's motion, so you're not going to etch the screen if you leave it on, right? That's like a screensaver mode, so it's pretty nice. So I'm going to shut this down, flip the dip switch back off, put it out of diagnostics, and then we're back into game mode, and I'm going to go ahead and coin it up. Just throw a few credits on there. And again, I've got the joystick map here. I can fire, move a little faster, and then I've got this this button here for the jump here, the X. Oops. I'll stop at the first checkpoint. There's a checkpoint C. So the game's playing great. This is really a fun game. My daughter, this is her favorite game. And you know, if you have it set basically to free play, you can just keep playing and get the high score on it for sure. They do make a high score saves kit for this board. This does not have it. Vector Labs, I think, makes one, and highscoresaves.com makes a save kit for it, and it literally just plugs into where the Z80 CPU's at. So you can pop the Z80 out, pop this in, and you've got free play, as well as the problem with this, if you set free play on these boards, which they do support, you won't get a track mode. It'll just sit and burn your monitor. So those kits are pretty nice. I think they're 60, 70 bucks, something like that. So in any case, this board's had more than 48 hours of runtime on it, so I'm going to get it packaged up and going out to my customers. So thanks for watching the video.